bone. And just to show how this referendum produces the unlikeliest bedfellows, we're also joined here today by the former Coventry Labour MP, Dave Nellist, now chair of the Trade Unionist and Socialist coalition. He's campaigning for a Leave vote, which puts him in the same company as the likes of Nigel Farage, Bill Cash and Karen Lumley. Are you sitting comfortably, Dave?
Well, we're not in the same campaign. TUSC is the third national organisation that applied to the Electoral Commission for the right to run the whole of the Leave campaign. Unfortunately, they decided to choose not only the Remain one, but the most suitable Leave campaign from their point of view. But we're not sharing platforms and doing the same campaigning.
Isn't the reality of it that the campaign for a Leave vote de facto is actually dominated by arguments about migration and so on, which is actually not really core to the left of centre agenda?
Which is precisely why TUSC applied to be the Leave campaign, because arguments on austerity, arguments on EU plans for privatisation, for reduction of workers' rights, for opposition to nationalisation, for an agenda which really is Thatcherism on a continental scale, is not being heard in this because of the overlapping agenda between the campaigns, which suits them to talk about big business issues, and immigration is one of those issues.
Well, we weren't talking about big business issues in that movie there, and we heard of a really benign effect of EU migration into places like Herefordshire with an ageing population, economically productive young people joining the workforce there.
Well, I came down from North Yorkshire to Coventry 45 years ago, stayed, got work and raised a family. So I start from the principle people should have the chance to choose to live and work where they want to. But most people who are moving around these days are either fleeing wars or coming from low-paid countries. If the EU was part of the solution to this problem, they'd be raising the minimum wage throughout Europe so people didn't have to leave home to come to the higher-paid countries like Germany and Britain for work.
What would you take on this argument that the bulk of the organised left in this country puts, that workers' rights, maternity pay, holidays and so on, better guaranteed by the EU than by a Conservative government? And in fact, Momentum, Jeremy Corbyn, the big unions all take that side.
Jeremy and I were elected in 1983 on official Labour Party policy against the EEC, and we campaigned throughout the 80s and so on those bases. And it's factually incorrect to put that position about workers' rights. For example, equal pay was won by the women sewing machinists in Dagenham 5 years before the Equal Pay Act, 5 years before Britain joined the EEC in 1973.
But you're on the different side of the argument.
Maternity pay, Britain is much higher than the EU minimum. So it's not the case that the EU has given us these rights. In fact, it's taking away trade union rights around the country. It's taken away in France, it's taken away in Greece, it's taken away in other places as well.
Okay, we'll pursue all